What up, HyperChange? Welcome to another episode. Today we've got a really special interview lined up. We have Carlos Soto on the line, the founder of Nosotros Tequila. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Gali, thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of tequila and I'm a huge fan of Tesla. And your company has brought to life the Tesla Tequila product, which has been in the works for years. Rumor this product. So I'm so curious if you could tell us, obviously a huge task to go to the drawing board working with Tesla. What did you come up with, and what did your company bring to market here?
Of course, so a little bit of the idea with it was just make something really, really special and unique. A little bit of a backstory on the Nosotros brand, till now, we actually only had two SKUs for a long time. We had a tequila blanco and a tequila reposado that we had developed. We recently just launched a Mezcal, which was our third SKU. So we went into the Mezcal world. But when this project came across, the idea was let's do something that's really special, very unique. Obviously, it has to be up to this Tesla standards. So we decided to make an Anejo, which is basically this is the first time we're going into the Anejo category. For people hearing that, may not be too familiar with the categories within tequila.
Yeah, we need you to
Blanco,
break that down.
yeah, I figured that it's always a good starting point. But Blanco is anything that's unaged, less than 2 months. Reposado is anything between 2 months all the way to 11 months and 29 days. So anything that doesn't cross the year mark, industry average sits around 6 to 7 months or so. We come in right at 11. And then Añejo is anything more than a year. So that basically just means it receives a lot more flavors from the barrel. And with Tesla Tequila, we actually went 15 months aged in French oak barrels. So it's a very unique flavor profile. And yeah, we're just very excited to put it out there.
Wow, that's so cool. And so what is it like to the drinking experience of drinking these different versions of tequila? How does that aging change it?
Okay, so in our case, in obviously this applies for Tesla Tequila too. Our focus is doing a blend of agaves. So we use agaves from highlands up in Jalisco and lowlands down in Jalisco too, just different geographic areas. The highlands tend to have a little bit more exposure to the sun, and they actually receive less water, which puts a little bit more stress on the agave itself. This results in an agave being a little bit more sweet, contrary to some the lowland agaves that tend to be a little bit more peppery. The lowland agaves gather all that water, and they have a little bit more shade, so they become a little bit more peppery, more earthy. So the flavor profile that we do is a blend between the highlands and the lowlands. So it starts out sweet, and it ends on that peppery herbal note. The idea from the start was to make a sipping tequila. That it was relatively affordable. And to guide back to your original question, the flow of drinking these three expressions is a blanco. You get a lot more agave forward. So agave has a little bit of that, herbal nature of it, that pepperiness into it. And when you go into age expressions, you start getting a little bit more of that barrel, that wood taste that you find specifically, say, in like a whiskey or like like a scotch or even a brandy. So that age experience. Reposados, depending on how long they're aged, so anywhere between the 2 months to the 11 months, they'll get a very strong wood taste or very light, and it's very easy to see that with the color of the bottles too. Again, how I mentioned, industry standard for that is 6 to 7. We go 11, and the reasoning for that is we use French oak barrels. Most tequila brands use American oak, which gives them a little bit closer to like a bourbon finish. We use French oak, which gives us a little bit closer to almost like a mixture between a scotch and a brandy finish. So it makes tequila very unique. And then añejos, which is the Tesla Tequila category. With the añejo, we actually went, full 15 months. So we go into the añejo category, and it's really rich, and it gets a lot of those flavors that go into that come from the wood.
Wow. And is this like whiskey where the longer it ages, like a little bit evaporates, and because you're paying for the aging, because a little bit's evaporating, the price or sort of value goes up generally as you age it?
Of course, yeah. So anytime you're aging, there's a bunch of issues that go into it. Temperature control, making sure that it doesn't oscillate too much, um, and and yes, it is part of the evaporation. It makes it more expensive, but it also the time. You're basically sitting on product, just waiting for it to age and go through this process. Another thing, at least for us specifically, French oak is a lot more expensive than American oak. So that drives up the price a little bit more. And then lastly, we do a level one char inside of the barrel, just to bring out a lot of the natural sugars that you find in the wood. Level one char just means that the barrel inside actually gets burnt
Wow.
for about 15 seconds.
Sounds so artisanal. And so how did you come up on, why did you haven't done an añejo before? Why did you decide this was the time and Tesla was this was the product to do that on instead of one of your traditional ones?
Yeah, to be completely honest, it was, we started with just a Blanco, which is the on-age expression. We've been a bootstrap company for a long time, and just recently we started growing a little bit faster, and we did our first rounds of funding and whatnot. And we focused just on quality, right? That was the first part. When we went into the reposado, since we were doing a French oak barrel, which is more expensive, and we wanted to just, do something that was very complex um, in terms of flavor, we went to 11 months, and that what yielded was, hey, we have a product that tailors to reposado drinkers, but it also tailors to a lot of people that drink añejo. So for a long time, we felt very comfortable with those two SKUs. We could focus on growing the brand and putting it out there, sharing with people what we were doing. And then when we actually went into exploring this project, the idea was, hey, let's if we're gonna do this, let's do something that's unique, that's different, something that we haven't done before. And then the idea of the añejo came through, and
Something
thankfully,
special.
everyone, yeah,
Yeah, and it sounds like
exactly.
you're kind of, you're a very new company. Your product R&D got to the point where you were comfortable, aging it, and you guys had more experience aging them more and more. And it takes, if it's a 15-month aged tequila, you got to do it and then wait 15 months. So this has been in the works for a while. Like, how old's your company? Only 5 years old or so. So
Yeah, exactly. So it started a while back, and we got just it was multiple layers of things happening at the same time. But right when we decided that this is going to be the road that we were going to take, we're like, okay, so we're doing an añejo. We're going to put a lot of tequila into aging.
So this might be a little too nerdy of a question, but I'm curious, what's up with the agave plant? Because you were saying, you guys blend these two sort of different varieties and growing in different terrain, terroir. It sounds like a lot goes into this agave plant. So can you tell us, like, how does this go from, like, a leaf in the ground to awesome tequila?
So agaves, they actually grow, and they have to be you got to wait for them to harvest them till a point where there's enough sugar bricks content inside of those agaves. So we use an agave called Blue Weber, which is the one that is uh, authorized for the tequila from the regulating council of tequila, right? Mezcal, on the other hand, that's the Wild West. There you have a lot of different options of what mezcal you can use, where you can go for production of mezcal. With tequila, is only Blue Weber. So within the Blue Weber world, big conglomerates, big brands, they're harvesting their agaves 2-3 years in because they need the production really, really quickly. We only do anything over 6 to 7 years. And the reasoning for that is realistically, agaves are not fully ripe until basically that range, 6 to 7 years. So it all depends on size and what weight they're at and how ripe they actually are. Uh, but it is a long process, and it takes a specific group of people that know what they're doing. And thankfully, we found a really solid network of farmers down in Jalisco that help us find these places. And we practice a lot of crop rotation by doing that, because we use some in the highlands, some in the lowlands, and then we do use different areas. And it's really an artisanal process. Like, these guys are doing everything by hand.
And it's so cool. And I know you say you're on your website, it's like a small batch tequila. And here you talk about the ingredients, something that I've learned from the beverage industry is, like, it feels like we had, like, all this innovation like 50 years ago. And then all these beverages hit the shelves and, like, got locked in with distributors and then never really changed. And so I feel like, what ingredients are they actually using? How artisanal is it? Like that's only happened recently. And so now it seems like we're having to go and like redo all of these categories in a better way. So I'm kind of curious, like how Nosotros's, small batch product would compare to bigger box tequila that we're seeing on the shelf.
Well, my response to that would be, let's do a blind tasting and see what happens. but but no, it is remarkable. It's a lot of these big brand conglomerates. They have their processes and they're producing recurrently. They're just basically putting out product all the time, and their processes are very industrial. We do a lot of stuff by hand. On our tequila process, we use brick ovens, which is a little bit more the traditional methods. There's different ways of cooking agave nowadays, and some are a lot quicker, a lot more industrialized. We like the brick oven because it's a little bit slower. It kind of yields, in our opinion, a much higher quality cooking process for the agaves. So it is interesting. I think it's been really cool seeing how the industry has little by little, people are now more and more getting interested into artisanal products and into more complex flavors than what they were used to, right? Especially in the tequila world. Before, you could think of 2-3 brands 10 years ago, and now there's a lot of people doing some really cool stuff.
Totally. And how would you say, building on that, how has the internet changed beverage distribution? Because I feel like that must be a trend. You probably wouldn't be able to start your company 20 years ago. It would be way harder, but now you have the internet, word of mouth, maybe distribution's easier. I don't even know, can you sell direct? But how has the internet really changed what you can do as a beverage company?
I mean, it's been a pivotal moment for the beverage industry, and you see that, I think, even within the craft beer. Craft beer really pivoted the way for craft spirits, because a lot of people through the internet were able to find, hey, like there's just this brewery doing this and this, and you saw it in San Diego, you saw it in Portland, like all these different like little niches of craft beer coming over here, and really sparked a lot of interest in people like, hey, I don't want to drink the traditional big brands anymore. I want to try something different. That funneled into the spirits world, and people started realizing, okay, like there's a lot more to spirits than what I was used to. And the internet has been the whole reason for that. Suddenly we, as a company, for example, Nosotros started with an $18,000 loan. And realistically, having something like that go into what we are today is really cool seeing it, and it wouldn't have been able to do it without internet, and more so like social media too. Suddenly you have an opportunity to go against the big guys and actually convey a message, if you do it right and if you focus on the right environments, that is much more affordable than before. I think, to your point, the internet, not only in our industry, is the main reason why we live in the best time in history for entrepreneurship and developing
Totally.
of products and concepts.
Yeah, and so I guess building on that, you may have kind of already answered this, but I'm curious, like you started this, I guess, at the end of college, it sounds like. Why did you think at that time the world needed another tequila company? You started to have this idea, you're willing to take a loan. Like where did that conviction come from?
A little bit of conviction was a lot of user experience, to be honest. I say user because, well, I'm originally from Costa Rica, so I was born and raised over there. And then I moved to California, and here in California, I discovered tequila. And I was like, wow, tequila's awesome. There's a lot more to it than I think, my first impression. I think most people's first impression with tequila is, hey, you take shots and, you take a lime and salt, and then you make an ugly face, and there's a lot more to that than just that experience. So I discovered tequila, I started looking into it, and the original premise, funny enough, was come up with a business idea that has nothing to do with technology. And this is the reasoning for it was my teacher at the time was tired of everyone thinking, hey, we're going to do the Uber for this or the Uber for that on your phone. And like, it was like, guys, forget about that. There's a lot more out there. So that was on a Friday. I actually went out with some friends on that night and bought a tequila drink, and then I saw people drinking, buying tequila. And I realized, well, like there's an opportunity here. And the more and more I looked into the industry, I saw that it was growing. I saw that there's a huge interest, again, through the internet, a huge interest of people like digging into brands. And the main thing I realized was every brand that I've liked that has like really, really high quality that I can sip on, that I can pour by itself, whether it be neat on the rocks or whatever, and actually just enjoy it by itself, is really, really overpriced.
Hmm.
So part of the premise was, we want to do something that is meant to bring people together. That at the end of the day, drinking is a social experiment. You're literally just enjoying something to make it easier to interact with people and have that human interaction. Why does everything have to be so expensive? So I took it on a project to actually go down to Jalisco, understand how the process works. Why is it that a lot of these brands do things and price the way they are? And a lot of it is it comes down to marketing and so many people out there saying that this is worth this and this and this. So the goal was to create really, really high quality tequila at an affordable rate. And that's how Nosotros started. That was the premise behind it.
Wow. And before you teamed up with Tesla, how is the company doing? Do you have any stats like amount of doors or sales or employees? How is it doing?
Yeah, you we've been the growth every year and year since inception, which has been amazing. Our main focus was growing within California. So California has 1/5 of the entire tequila industry in the U.S. Believe it or not, the U.S. is the highest consumer tequila in the world.
Wow.
So it's amazing. So I think just living in California, having that always margarita weather helps a little bit. but but yeah, that basically turned into going into an environment that we wanted to focus on, nailing a system that really worked and then scaling it. So the last few years we've been nailing our modus operandi. We're not part of any big distribution group or anything like that. We've been doing things on our own. So we go straight to our accounts. We go straight to the restaurants, to the bars that we work with, to our retail partners, and we bring the product to them. In the last year has really been expanding that. We're getting ready to start working in Chicago and Illinois. New York is in the works. So no, it's been a dream come true, honestly, and a lot of people just believing in us and really believing in the product first, and then seeing what we're able to do.
That's so cool. The good quality tequila is spreading. That seems like great news for the world. And
Which is
so I
awesome.
noticed you're doing deliveries in a truck that is a pickup truck. This is like a video from a year ago, pre Cybertruck launch. So I'm not holding anything back, but I'm just, dude, the Nosotros Cybertruck, like doing deliveries for right? This is like 2023. This is a given, right?
This is 2023. It's happening. We're changing all of our fleet.
That's awesome. So
We gotta.
back to Tesla Tequila. So I'm not allowed to. I haven't seen the bottle. We're recording this pre-launch, so I don't know what it looks like. But I know the bottle is super dope, mind-blowing, amazing, beautiful. Can you explain, the theory behind it and how you designed it?
Totally. So obviously, once this comes out, we'll be able to share a little bit more, and here's some images. Insert images. But no, the idea with it was, at the end of the day, it's something that has to make sense for this partnership. The shape of the bottle is a lightning bolt that sits very, very pretty with the stand, as you can see now. And the idea behind it is something that pays tribute to sustainable energy, to the future and into this world that we're going into. But it also pays tribute to the origins of tequila. And the idea behind that is there's a myth in tequila, basically, that tequila started from a god that sent a lightning bolt that struck down an agave plant, which cooked the agave plant, and that yielded the first ever batch of tequila.
Wow.
So it's a play on on sustainable energy and the myth, the origin of tequila, which makes it really special. In terms of the bottle itself, it's handcrafted. It takes two people to blow it. It's just very, very unique, and it's a very slow process, very high skilled level of work that goes into it. And in my opinion, it's absolutely beautiful.
At a high level, would you say there's, tequila, electric cars, pretty different industries, but what would you say, are there brand sort of ideologies or ethos that you overlap with on Tesla in terms of, a really good quality product, thinking of an industry a different way, beautiful design, is that sort of where you kind of connected?
I think you hit the nail on the head on all those. I think the premise for both of us has always been, put product first, and then everything else will follow. On our side, it has always been the narrative. Hey, let's make really good, high quality tequila, and then let's put it out to the market. One thing that I also, think there's a similarity over there is us handling all of our distribution and going to places and actually bringing our product ourselves.
Ooh, that
That really
vertical
brings
integration. Yeah.
exactly. That really brings a lot of like that unique experience that consumers get. And at the end of the day, it's all about the consumer experience, right? I think that's what really separates brands.
And so maybe we can end it with, I guess, the vision, or actually, no, I have one kind of business question. So
Mhm.
you took a loan? Did you bootstrap? Are you raising from investors? Is this, is Nosotros Tequila a super hot startup in its own right that's going to IPO soon? Like,
No, so nosotros started out with a loan and some savings that I had from college. Basically used all my savings. But then we slowly started bringing some partners into the company, and we continue growing. Last year we did do our first official, I'd say, like formal round of investment. But for the foreseeable future, we don't see a need for that. Thankfully we've been operating always very conservatively in terms of our expenditures, um, and yeah, I think that's where we're headed.
awesome. And so you're based in LA, and what's the vision behind Nosotros? Just more and more tequilas? Is there other, ways to distribute tequila, other tequila agave related products that you could hint about, or do we just got to stay tuned?
No, totally. I mean, we just launched a mezcal, so this is the first time we're going into the mezcal category. We're fans of the agave spirit as a whole. Just going into mezcal, it's a completely different area. We're working in Oaxaca in Mexico, so it's a different part of Mexico. The Sierra Sur, so in the southern part of Oaxaca, there's a set of mountains that yield really good agaves, and we did basically how I was explaining the highland and the lowland approach that we have within Nosotros Tequila. For Nosotros Mezcal, what we did was blending two different types of agaves. So we're working with Espadín and Toala. Espadín is your agave that your most tequila, most mezcales are usually made with. It's the entry level, agave that really provides a solid foundation for mezcal. And then we blended it with Toala. Toala is a wild agave, so almost like going truffle hunting. You need
Ooh,
to go try and find them. Um, they
wow,
don't
that
grow
is
too
dope.
well when they're next to each other. So it really just creates a really cool experience. Toala is called the king of agaves for a reason. Um, and they're very contrasting in terms of flavor. Espadín is a lot more smoky, gives you like that campfire thing that you expect with mezcal, while Toala is a little bit more fruity. It almost has a little bit more like an apricot touch to it. So this was basically grabbing the Nosotros philosophy of having that intentional duality of blending two areas, bringing it into the mezcal world, and bringing something that's just very unique for people to try and experience.
Wow. Can't wait. I'm gonna have to. You're making me thirsty for all this tequila and mezcal.
Oh
Um,
man, there's some stuff coming your way, man. Just wait for it.
yeah, this is so awesome. Well, thank you so much, Carlos, for taking the time to tell us a little about Nosotros, the Tesla Tequila story. Like, so this is to me like the fact that this product exists is just like the coolest thing ever, and it must feel so good to like put it out in the world. So huge congrats and props, and I cannot wait to try it and get my hands on a bottle. So yeah, really thank you for the time.
Thank you, Guy. I appreciate you and really look forward to hearing your thoughts on everything that we put forward.
Definitely. And nosotrostequila.com, is that, what's your website that we can plug?
Yeah, nosotrostequila.com. You can find us as Nosotros Tequila on Instagram too. And anything that goes into there, we all look at it. We're a small team and we're nimble, but we move quickly.
Hell yeah. Thanks again. Go follow. See y'all next time. Peace.
See you, Gali.